Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast. And yes, we are hyped. We are eating agenda piece right here. But, anyways, this is One Piece chapter 1069. The desire of all things are born to this world. Uh, so, we are another continuation of the Germa 66, and we get to see Duvel. Unfortunately, this also lowers the value, I'd say, of Whole Cake Island because I kind of wish he died because that would have been a cool moment. But, anyways,
True.
by Stussy. But an interesting link to Stussy right here. Any thoughts on that?
No, I kind of glossed over it because you were telling me how hyped the chapter was, so I just got right into it.
All right.
But I mean, well, I will say so. It says Lone Shark King Dufeld's charitable work, the Research Institute of Peace, MADS. So is this the MADS facility? I don't understand really what's going on in this one.
Maybe he was one of the funders of MADS or something like that, but
Maybe.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. We're gonna need more explication on this, but it's crazy this cover story's still going still.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. But what's even better? Yes. So let's. I believe we need to shut down the One Piece community until we figure out what the hell's going on, because just about everybody said Lucci was gonna get one-shotted, either in Gear 3 or Gear 4 Luffy. But no, instead, you kind of see Lucci, and at first I was kind of concerned, like, hey, they're going to be like, we can't actually fight you because of the diplomacy thing. So you see some restraint on Lucci's part, which I kind of think some... Would you say that's character development or not? Or is he always follows the government's orders no matter what kind of thing? He doesn't really act on his own.
I don't know. I think he was just kind of sticking to the plan for this one, which I guess, just going by his flashback or whatever, he did the plan, but how he carried it out was not what they intended. So, I could see him doing something like that maybe at the end of this arc, but. Well, I'll talk about that more at the end of the chapter.
Yeah, so basically, kind of one of the common ideas was they were going to fight no matter what because Atlas went down and Atlas fed Luffy, so Luffy would like Atlas. And again, you kind of see the contrast. Kind of, we'll get this more like the yin and yang friction between Luffy and Lucci when you think about it, where Lucci doesn't really, in a way, from what we can tell, doesn't have a dream of his own. He just listens to orders, unlike the other villains and everything, where they kind of have their goals, and like Crocodile making Utopia, right? Lucci's just completely a servant of the government. He kills for the sake of killing, basically, while Luffy, obviously, all he is about dreams and everything, So, obviously, I think you could tell Oda liked Lucci a lot, just like how they treated him pre-time skip. And I'd say he's one of the most prominent villains in the time skip, and then bringing him back in this high position. But I also think he's bringing out something more. He's trying to explicate this theme more. Or yin and yang, Dream versus servitude, basically, Light versus darkness.
Yeah. I mean, we see that in the art even, which is an interesting design choice by Oda when we get to the actual... when they clash.
And it's interesting to see Akainu being the more restrained one here, And you kind of see this theme brought out more again, where you see friction between the Marines and Cypher Pole. Because people try to portray Akainu as basically this dog to the world government, but he really isn't. He's kind of his own thing.
Yeah.
Because you see Akainu and Film Gold get angry at Lucci, too, for kind of stepping all over him in a way. And you also saw with Dressrosa with the cover-up of Doflamingo and the plan they did with Cypher Pole Zero to trick Law into coming in there, that he lost his warlord status, and they didn't tell the Marines. And Akainu was screaming at the Five Elders over that. So there is like a friction between the world government and Akainu. They're not one and the same, even though they kind of get synonymously put with one another,
Yeah.
And then we see Kizaru's headed over there now.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because this is really getting. I wasn't expecting this to move this fast. We're on like hype. We're on turbo mode.
Nobody predicted that a Kizaru is going to show up.
Yeah.
On top of CP0.
Don't worry,
Shanks
is going to show up and drive him away like he did with Green Bull.
That'd be trash. But also, like, Sentomaru is already showing up too, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Sword's going to be showing up right quick too now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely. I thought we were going to get more character interactions with everything, like more of a lull before because the way that previous arcs have worked, you kind of build up these conflicts. But I mean, we're literally getting Awakened Lucci versus Gear 5 Luffy. And
yeah. Sorry, go. Yeah.
No, you go.
Well, I'm just saying we're already seeing Egghead Island getting destroyed just by these two fighting, and they're not even directly destroying the island.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the chapter, what we see with the Seraphim, there's not going to be anything left if they have control then too. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of... Egghead Island's basically done for. And same with the other paths of Vegapunk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just kind of my instinct here, because look at how fast everything's accelerating, you know?
Yeah.
But what do you think of the introduction of Lucci, though? And kind of like, you're not the only one that's gotten stronger, and just kind of his place in the story, power level. You go off on that first.
I mean, I'm not much one for power scaling, but just talking about his parallels with Luffy now, he literally has the same flames around him as Luffy in Gear 5 and Gear 4. So is this also related to like some sort of god thing like Nika, or is it like a conqueror's hockey thing, or is it because we didn't see that with Kaido at all. So it's interesting that he's using Lucci to have this. And I think just in terms of strength, I mean, we see him clashing with Gear 5 Luffy, and I think I've said before that Gear 5 isn't necessarily a power boost, it just allows him to do more things. But if he's keeping up with a Luffy who fought against Kaido and took him down, I mean, that's
right.
That's really powerful. I mean, we do see him toward the end of the chapter get a little bit like we see Luffy punch under the ground and it hits him, but he's still standing. He doesn't look like he's taken that much damage from that.
Right, and I was kind of thinking, like, leading up to this week, like, Luffy's only fought two zone types, and that's Lucci and Kaido, basically. So, and this, one of the zones, the villains I gave him, like, I'd say the hardest time in the pre-time skip was the Lucci. So, in a way, it's kind of fitting that they would kind of have this inverse relationship, because Oda's the type of guy, he never throws away the pre-time skip. You know, he always loves bringing stuff back, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess Lucci is truly a prodigy, now that you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, he is one.
Yeah.
If he's able to keep up with Gear 5 Luffy. I think if you were to ask anyone in the community a week ago if Lucci was going to be evenly sparring with Luffy in Gear 5, nobody would believe you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the crazy thing is. The majority of people were just completely downplaying him. But we were talking about this last week, how Oda just doesn't introduce previous characters into the story and make them irrelevant. I mean,
yeah,
especially in terms of combat, but even look at like when he introduced Buggy, he was there for a purpose, and bringing back Lucci is definitely, he's doing this intentionally. Because I would say, I mean, it's a common trope in anime. Like you have the rival character, who's opposed to you. And I think Lucci's kind of filling that role. I know that people like to bring up like, oh, Kobe's gonna be the Garp to Luffy, but I can kind of see that. But in terms of that, because Garp and Roger had like a strange sort of friendship compared to Lucci, who's just is against Luffy.
Yeah, you can have multiple rivals in different ways.
Yeah. So there's that with Lucci, but that brings up the question if Kaku's awakened, because he's here too, and that can.
Oh, Zoro, man, he's sweating. Zoro's staying on the sunny for a reason right now.
Yeah. Also, Kaku doesn't have his swords. I just noticed.
Yeah.
Maybe,
no, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Maybe he's refined his technique so much he doesn't need them.
The giraffe sword, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he's gonna freaking whip out a supreme grade at this rate. You know.
Yeah.
Like the CP0 power ups right now.
He went to Wano and stole Shusui.
Yep, that's what happened. Yeah.
Well, we never saw it get put back.
Oh, and real quick, this is also another negative for Wano, that Lucci has an awakened form, but not Kaido.
I thought Kaido did have an awakened form.
Did they ever make that explicit in the?
Oh no, maybe
story?
No. That was just his hybrid form. Sorry, I think I said earlier.
Never, like say he was in awakening.
Yeah. That's true. So maybe this is a. Well, I was gonna say a thing of. Maybe this, is something. So when we first saw awakened, like when we first got the idea of awakened devil fruits, was in Impel Down with the jailers, like the Minotaurus and the Minnow koala and zebra or whatever, but those didn't have like their intellect. So I think. Yeah, Shaka says it in this chapter. There are many cases that the awakening of the Zoan types robs their users of their own personality. So I think maybe this flame thing could be something to do with like Zoan types. I know we're hyping up all like the Lucci power scaling thing. But do you also want to get into the discussion that Vegapunk has about the devil fruits?
Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting that Gomu no Mi doesn't pop up, and I think like this is also a plot way of showing like revealing Gear 5 to Vegapunk basically, which is interesting. Sorry, one point I forgot to bring up. Akainu was concerned about losing Vegapunk in terms of military power, which I thought was interesting, you know?
But I thought...
So again...
Yeah. But then again, it's the government who's deciding that, not the Navy.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to add that in as another distinction, because people try to, like, just because they're both vicious, they try to make them one and the same, basically. They have different competing interests, you know?
And that could be another way that Sword gets brought into this.
Yeah, and I know there's some in the community that are saying Akainu is actually a part of Sword too, or has some knowledge of it. But that's another discussion there. But I'll just kind of put that off to the side. But yeah, when he said devil fruits, Vegapump's saying the devil fruits are potential of human evolution that humanity wished for.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be nice if like that? Wouldn't it be great if it was like this? They have the powers of the diverse future of mankind. Therefore, these abnormalities are hated by the sea and the mother of all nature. Their existence is burdened with this punishment. These so-called devil fruit users, beings living in a completely different world that many people wished for and envisioned. So it's kind of interesting because remember we kind of get the first somewhat official explanation of about what devil fruits were and how there's like a devil inside of you with Jabra talking about that in Water 7.
Yeah.
And how if you ate two, they would fight and then it would destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
So it is interesting, like, that Lucci is getting brought more and more into this, basically, right? And I it seems like there is more of a will, right, behind these devil fruits, and which is funny enough because you see a hockey clash between Luffy and Lucci, and that kind of looks like Conquerors. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, it does kind of. And I mean,
It's not really going too far to say that at this point.
I don't think so.
You know,
no, I don't think so. If Lucci has Conquerors or not, it would make sense for him. If Yamato can have Conquerors, then Lucci certainly can as well.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Lucci over Yamato at this point, but but I don't know. So that was kind of my take on the Devil Fruit part. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, what you just quoted, like Vegapunk ended. This is my theory. But I think it's interesting that Vegapunk even knows about Nika and everything, and that like he's so excited to see. He calls it the White Warrior. So just based on that, he has this knowledge. It kind of makes. I mean, we knew that he knew a lot about the Void Century, but if he knows like this and it's such a danger to the Gorosei, then it makes sense that why they sent Lucci after him. And just the Nami saying that she hadn't heard of Nika, and he says because it's been erased from history. But as long as people continue to yearn for it, its existence will never disappear. So I know it's it's not as good as One Piece, but it's kind of a similar theory to like My Hero Academia. Like this past weekend was the episode where they kind of explained that all the quirks have a will of their own and they get passed down, and that's why like Deku has all the memories, like they're technically still alive within the quirk that he has from the previous users. So and I think that's been a trope from before, that like in terms of like inherited will. So I think that we're also going into that thing with its existence will never disappear. Yeah.
Right.
But just one little thing. It's a very blink and you'll miss it moment, but Frankie's like fangirling about meeting Dr. Vegapunk when he rushes in. So I thought that was kind of, we need more Frankie moments, especially after his fight with Sasaki wasn't that great in the anime. So he needs more. He needs more love.
Agreed. So with the Sentomaru thing, I thought it was interesting how there's kind of like actually a friendship between him and Vegapunk. That he's actually going back and forth. Well, actually, no, he basically takes a side. Against the government. So I guess the fandom was kind of right to be like, say, he's one of the good Marines, you know? But I'm also seeing I think this chapter is more and more explicating how there's this great divide between the government and the Navy. They're not as harmonious as people think.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I think with the big final war, we're gonna see a division even more so. I don't think the entire Navy will be on Luffy's side, but I think people, well, if Sentomaru survives past this chapter, like Smoker, Kobe, like the good Marines being on Luffy's side.
Right. And Sakaku and Stussy and Morikaku's just kind of been like comedic relief. Stassi's kind of like the brains and everything, kind of showing the pacifista rank of authority, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I also, with Sentomaru, I thought it was, you got just the little dialogue between him and Vegapunk. Like, I guess it's how they met. He said, Sentomaru, in the past, it was me who picked you up when you had nothing to eat. So, I guess that kind of shows loyalty there. So, yeah, because before, Sentomaru really wasn't much of a character. I mean, we just saw him on Sabaody during the Marineford War and at the beginning of the time skip. So
that's true, but he was there for such a pivotal moment in the story, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we get the full shot of the Hancock and Mihawk Seraphim. So that was cool to see.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was funny to see Jinbei kind of like getting tripped out, and also to see Luffy see Sentomaru like, "Hey, Axe guy."
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny to see them, kind of on good terms, because the last time he was an antagonist, So it was kind of funny to see that happen again. But again, one of the reasons why I love Lucci, the dude does not just waste time.
No.
And he just comes in with Shugon.
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, Jabra had the one with the 10-finger pistols with both his hands, but this one seems, I mean, it looks like it's covered in hockey.
Yeah.
In that. But yeah.
And it was kind of interesting that too, just like you see Stussy and Kaku, oh no, we have to tell the government, or like, oh no, like our transponders aren't working, like we can't get them orders. And Lucci's like, okay, boom, comes in, takes care of it, problem solved, let's move on to the next one,
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if the Seraphim will try to protect him, because he's technically still alive.
Is he though?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know. I also want to. So I got kind of spoiled on this chapter beforehand, and I want to say fuck you to all the fake spoilers out there who said that Lucci got curb stomped.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so I had to see for myself the raws for this, and he did not get curb stomped. So
no, he's still breathing, and he doesn't even look like he's in that much pain.
No, I mean, literally, he only got hit once from Luffy. The whole chapter, and besides that, they're just kind of clashing.
And you could say, "Oh, he didn't hurt Luffy," but like it's so hard to tell when you gear 5th is taking damage or not.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's all just jokes. Like we see the panel of him, Luffy, like literally like moving his head around while Lucci's trying to. I mean, you can't say that about it. Like Lucci's trying to hit him, and Luffy looks like he's just kind of playing around. But when they actually clash, they look like they're pretty even.
Yeah, there's kind of a good rule of thumb. When you do a hockey clash, you're roughly about even.
Yeah.
Which, again, nobody was saying this. I wasn't even saying this, and I'm a Lucci stan.
Yeah.
But it looks like my prediction is this fight's probably going to end next chapter because the Seraphim are going to cut him in and do some serious damage to everybody.
Yeah. So I don't have that many predictions for the next chapter, but I just want to give my basic prediction about the end of the arc. I think that Vegapunk is way too valuable for the Straw Hats as a source of information to be left alive. So I think he might die. I mean, and that could lead them on their path to Elbaf.
And it's been a while since they've taken a loss. Wano, again, another critique. it took close to little losses, you know.
Is this what Morge meant by the raid will fail?
That's just me. I think. I mean, it's shit. If even Sentomaru died, like,
Yeah.
they need the government coming in this hard with all the Seraphim and CP0 and like making them lose.
Yeah.
I think would be an interesting twist, you know.
Yeah. And I think if they kill Sentomaru and Vegapunk, I think that would be and destroy the whole Egghead Island. Like you said, that would be a good loss for them to have. In terms of
good W
story
for like the final villain too, which is like the government basically. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they destroyed the island. They really didn't capture the warlords, but they showed an impressive showing against the warlords, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to add in. Oh, sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and if they have like access to the Seraphim, then it's definitely a big problem.
Yeah, now they just got full access to the Seraphim, basically. So, because if they just killed Vegapunk, they killed Tomorrow, then they have complete access, and that gets rid of the issue.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you go on with your thought.
Yeah, so the Admiral's slander was very heavy not too long ago, and once upon a time, you know. Now, are you going to tell me that the Admirals are weaker than Lucci?
It can be debated. I mean, not maybe. I would say this is getting into power scaling. I would say that he's not as strong as Kizaru because they're literally sending Kizaru as backup. Mm-hmm. But maybe like Fujitora and Green Bull.
I'm open to the argument, but the idea people are making it seem like Luffy with mid-def admirals and stuff, and I'm not going to get to. I'm just saying in a narrative sense. People were saying he was stronger than Akainu after he got Gear 5 and took down Kaido, quote unquote. Right?
Yeah, I don't believe that because
I just don't think it makes sense for the story. It doesn't at this point. You know, I'm not even like agendas. You know.
Yeah, I would say the only thing is that because Luffy took down the strongest creature in the world, who he didn't take down by himself. I think that's what they're saying. Oh, he beat Kaido, so therefore he's the strongest in terms of power and everything. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you look at... Power doesn't necessarily mean everything. I mean, literally look at Usopp and Luffy. Their fight.
Yeah.
I know Usopp lost, but he gave Luffy a good run. So
yeah,
it's all about how you use the powers, and given Luffy does have a big increase with his awakening on how he can use the powers. So, yeah.
I'm just sick of hearing Marine/World Government slander. Never again. This is.
You literally go by Akainu Fanboy, so...
This is true, but the amount of slander that Lucci received this past week is unforgivable, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it is just crazy. Oh my gosh, just bad. Anyways, those are my final thoughts. Loved the chapter. Incredible chapter.
Yeah. This is... I think is one of the... Just between the Devil Fruit stuff and Lucci's awakening... I think this is one of the better chapters we've had this year. Was Gear 5 revealed this year? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's probably definitely in the top 10.
Yeah. Holy, like Lucci.
That'll stay tuned for our year-end discussion of the top 30 strongest characters.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I want to add it. My agenda aside, this is a W for Sabo because I do think Lucci and Sabo are gonna be paired up. So at the end with fighting. So.
Oh yeah, we didn't even. It wasn't shown this chapter, but yeah, Kuma's on the way here too to like throw a wrench in everything. So. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, if anything, even if Vegapunk escapes, Egghead Island is going to be donezo.
Yeah, so I think Revolutionary Trash Cans do get a W in regard to Sabo's power, because I do think it's going to be comparable to Lucci at this point, you know. So, and yeah, so I do want to give credit to where credit is due, even if they at least deserve it the most, you know. So, but yeah, anyways, so like and subscribe if you haven't. We will see you soon. We will most likely be doing a Chainsaw Man review soon and a Wano Act 2 review soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be having a lot of breaks coming up. So, oh yeah, and our One Piece Top 30 stream too. But anyways, have a good one. See ya.
Peace.